You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Pete Hegseth sends heads rolling after noticing his no-beard policy is going unenforced, based on an article by Matthew Chapman. Hegseth's beard war is about obedience, not discipline. The real story, Pete Hegseth, is not tightening standards in any neutral sense. According to CNN, he noticed too many beard-waiver exemptions on a naval ship. Then higher-ups rushed meetings telling subordinates he was monitoring compliance and expecting faster execution of his directives. The source also says he is pushing changes to equal employment policy and waiver rules that could hit black service members especially hard, while his department is already tied up in renewed hostilities with Iran and the bill for that war keeps climbing. Who has power? The power is not with the people subject to these rules. It sits with Hegseth, political appointees, and the chain of command he can pressure into compliance. That matters because this is not a debate over military readiness. It is a top-down enforcement campaign from a defense chief who wants the bureaucracy to prove loyalty by moving faster, not by thinking harder. The Pentagon under Hegseth is behaving like an instrument of personal will. When policy becomes a loyalty test, every standard starts to look like a purge mechanism. The beard rule is a race and religion story. The source notes what the Pentagon wants to pretend is incidental. Exemptions exist for religious and medical reasons, and curtailing them will hit black men disproportionately because pseudofolliculitis, Barbie, is more common for them. That is not a side effect. It is the policy's foreseeable target zone. Calling this uniformity is propaganda by etiquette. If a rule predictably penalizes religion, medical need, and race-linked biology, then the rule is not about neat appearance. It is about who gets forced to absorb institutional pain so leadership can perform toughness. Or place complaints as a target. Hegseth is also pushing changes to equal employment policy, including a requirement that complaints move quickly and that the accused be presumed innocent unless evidence says otherwise. On paper, that sounds procedural. In practice, it can become a shield for management and a pressure point against anyone filing complaints inside a hierarchy that already rewards silence. This is how institutional cowardice dresses itself up as fairness, recast power as neutrality, then use process to delay, dilute, and discipline the people most likely to complain. The source gives no evidence of a crisis that demanded this overhaul. It describes a political appointee forcing the workforce to move faster in his preferred direction. This direction as method, the story's weak frame is the familiar one, a fuss over beards, as if the real issue were grooming standards and not command culture. That framing shrinks the decision down to administrative tidying and hides the actual mechanism at work. The decision maker is the defense chief. The losers are service members who need medical or religious accommodation, and especially black men whose bodies already collide with rigid military norms. This is not confusion. It is deliberate harm routed through bureaucratic language. Standards are being used the way authoritarians use all soft vocabulary to launder domination, the pattern beneath it. Hegseth's posture here fits a broader political pattern. The militarized state demands compliance from below while insulating itself from accountability above. It polices appearance, disciplines complaints, and rebrands coercion as professionalism. And it does all of this while the country pays for renewed war abroad. That is the deeper structure. The same political class that cannot stop manufacturing conflict wants to make the people inside the machine smaller, quieter, and easier to control. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article with the automated voice of LJ. Thanks for listening.